also the economic issue. And here, it's time we recognize that we need to rebuild our own supply chains, even if that requires a certain level of subsidized industrial productivity. We cannot be dependent on the Chinese market. It's not only bad for our economies, it is bad for our geopolitical strategic interests. Look at what happened with the lack of personal protective equipment or certain pharmaceutical ingredients when the pandemic hit. We were at the mercy of China. Well, we cannot let that continue, and we need to work together across the Atlantic to figure out how we're going to take back production. Now, will it be as low cost? Of course not. And how do we set our tax systems and other arrangements so that there are incentives for our businesses to return to Western democracies to produce things? And I would add that more and more businesses are seeing that unless they are low-cost producers of retail clothing, which probably will never come back for all the obvious reasons, but if they are producing anything more sophisticated, increasingly the Chinese government, through coercion, through unfair regulation, through enforced partnerships or royalty agreements, is slowly stealing that intellectual property anyway. So I do think that we've got to get smarter about how we deal with the economic threat. And for people who say, oh, well, that disrupts the market. China has disrupted the market. China is not a free market economy. We tried. We let them into the World Trade Organization. We sent our businesses over there. We made trade deals. They are a controlled top-down economy. You will never compete and win against them unless you take back the means of production. And it is way past due for us trying to do that. And I know that the Biden administration is very keen on trying to reestablish our own supply chains, but we should do it in concert.
There's a lot to unpack here when dealing with what it is that Clinton is saying with regards to manufacturing that's gone to China. Now, it's very clear what their main goal is to try to divest from China in order to hurt their economy and in order for the U.S. to try to maintain some semblance of ability to be that global economic power, that workshop of the world once again. However, it's simply not going to happen, and she even acknowledges this, particularly with regards to textiles. It's something that just can't happen, and that's something that they're going to have to deal with. In terms of other manufacturing, they can bring it back. But you notice the talk about subsidizing it. Now that's the key thing here. State investment into private companies to produce domestically. Now there's a reason for that. Because they know they can't compete with Chinese labor. They know they can't compete with Chinese raw materials. And that's the point here. These companies didn't move to China just because they're greedy. It's not some evil capitalist's idea to just make more money. They did it because they have to do it, because of the way the market functions, because of the internal contradictions within capitalism, particularly with regards to the tendency of the rate of profit to fall. They have to make manufacturing cheaper. They have no choice. This has been an ongoing problem since the birth of capitalism, and something that Thomas Piketty in his book Capital in the 21st Century actually did prove, but then proceeded to say that Marx was wrong because Marx. So you see what they're doing here? They're saying how the state invests in industry and whatnot in China. It's a top-down totalitarian system. Well, you see, that's really not true. Actually, it is very much dependent on the market. As you can tell by the production of things specifically for exchange and not production for its actual use value. Because if that were true, I would like to see where it is in the Chinese state plan that the allocation of funds and resources for sex toys for Western consumers was factored in. But that is the point. Some of the economy is subsidized by the government, and it shouldn't be subsidized. It should just be completely run by the government. But that's the advantage that they do have, is state investment in infrastructure, etc., which allows businesses to go. That's what the Belt and Road Initiative is. And ability to move commodities and raw materials across the continent, in order to serve Chinese interests. But that's what the United States doesn't have. It doesn't have that kind of investment in the means of production, because the rate of profit is not there for it. So that's why they're going to need the state in order to invest in those means of production in order to make them profitable. The same way we see the corn industry in the United States, we may end up seeing that with a lot of other industries as well, if their plan is to go through. This is an admission that they can't actually compete with China because the profitability is not there. It's just simply by the laws of the market not possible. So capitalism, in order to save itself, has to violate the market and subsidize it by the government. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.